Good morning. It's Monday morning again, and here we are. We had a beautiful weekend. I don't know where you are in the world, but I would love for you to say hello in the chat and where you're watching from. We had a beautiful weekend here in Shell Harbour with the sun shining brightly yesterday, and there's blue sky again today, and still a little bit chilly, but when you're out in the sun it's beautiful. So where are you watching from, and how is the world in your reality at the moment? I would love for you to put in the comments, and if you're new to this group, then I'd love to welcome you. If you're new to any platform that you're watching from, throw in a hello or give some love hearts. We really want to get to know more and more people that are watching and supporting the community at large, right? So that we're coming together as a whole and creating an energy and a synergy of what really is this new creation that we really want to step into as a collective. Because the reason I put, are you scared or worried, or what did I actually call this thing? I can't remember now. Feeling lost in the world, that's right. Are you feeling lost? Because I've been speaking to quite a few people lately, and in my particular world, I live by myself, and I see people, but I have a lot of time online, and so being a little bit of a hermit, I can be actually not aware of what's going on in the world. Now, I know I don't watch TV, right? I haven't watched physical TV for, I'd say about 20 years now. I know that you've got to plug something in the wall to get channels, blah, 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 and I just haven't done it because I'm aware that what I personally feel is that the TV that, the mainstream TV is very directed towards fear-based information and adrenaline pumping concern and worry and doubt and problem solving the world, and finding out who murdered who and what's happening, like all of these different, all this stuff with COVID and blah, 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 right? And I've got to tell you, so many people say, but what, how do you know what's going on in the world? Well, do I really want to know? Do I really? And I know that there's going to be a few people that are going to, this is quite controversial, because some people may say that I'm burying my head in the sand. And maybe I am. Maybe I am burying my head in the sand by not knowing what's going on in the world. However, I know that there's a lot of people, like I've been talking to a fair few women lately, just that are interested in joining Conscious Creator Mastermind and starting to, connecting with their divine wisdom and actually separate themselves from, that there's so many different realities, and you can create your own reality, right? And so I have been talking to a lot of women lately and men, and I am aware that there is a lot of stress and emotion out there. There's a lot of concern about what's happening out in the world with the economy, and we're going into another recession, and it's the worst in 40 years, I heard my brother tell me the other day. And I thought, oh, I think I've heard that before, haven't I? You know, wasn't there a recession that we, you know, when I was younger, there was a recession, and you know, aren't we always in something going on, right? And what happens is, when you're watching TV, when you're listening to other people, when you're hearing that there are concerns out in the world, and that, you know, we're heading for, you know, disaster. When you are listening to that, then you are being programmed to start with, and you are also having your brain frequencies will, the firing within your brain will go into old patterns of fear, concern, worry, doubt, overwhelm. Who's feeling overwhelmed, confused, you know, holding on to everything because they're worried, and having this like adrenaline, not being able to sleep, you know, all of these things, having frustrations with family members, with relationships, with children. There is just so much out there at the moment that is worrying people and holding people in fear. And it's not necessary, because when we are in this place of listening to all of that, problem solving our world, then and our reality, then we are getting stuck in our identity. We're getting stuck in a little part of us, that part of us that feels separate and contained and disconnected from the rest of the world. And it becomes small, and it runs on this system, right? It runs in the game of power and powerless. So it runs in this duality, and it needs energy outside of itself to feel okay. And it's the way the world runs. It's the way things are. It's the way we have been conditioned to live on the planet, to think of ourselves as small, as insignificant, as not able to make a difference, to be in all of those lower vibrational emotions. And I say lower vibrational not from a negative point of view, but from they vibrate at a lower frequency, right? They're very disconnected from our divine nature. And so when you're watching TV, you are reconditioning that. You're listening to the news, or you're watching even the programs that we watch, the series that we watch on TV, the reality shows, you know, even documentaries that are talking about, you know, what's going on in the world, and which is all fine and good, right? I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, if you are in a frequency of overwhelm and doubt and concern and worry and problem solving your life, and things are going unwell, and then you're watching those things on TV, you are reinforcing that in your life. You're reinforcing those neural connections within your brain, and you're reinforcing your feeling of vulnerability, your feeling of scarcity, your feeling of not being a good enough or insignificant, the fear, the overwhelm. You're reinforcing all of those things, right? And so when you can step out of that and remember that actually you are a divine being that created, you know, you chose to be here. This is your choice. Wherever you are right now in your life, the conditions you're living in, you know, the financial situation you're in, the relationship that you're in, the location that you're in, all of those things, or the health that you're in, all of those things, whether you believe it or not, or you want to own it or not, you have created all of it. It's your choice. Now, some of it may not be, because on some level there's genetic epigenetics is showing that emotionally, and not even epigenetics, but science is showing that we inherit different diseases from our generational history. However, I could go a bit further than that and say, well, you chose to come down into this body, into this family lineage, into this bloodline, right? Whether you want to take ownership of that or not is another thing. That might make you feel angry if you are dealing with, a terminal illness, or you're dealing with, family members that you're finding very frustrating, or you're in a situation that you feel extremely powerless. When you're in that place, sometimes taking ownership of that situation is really, really hard to do, right? And yet it's necessary. This is where I am, not good or bad, it's just my current reality. And so when we are spiritual beings, we came down here to at this time we came down here to create a new world, to expand and to live in our divine wisdom, in our divinity. And I've got to tell you, if you're watching Women of Light, then you have a spark somewhere, right? You feel it within your blood, you feel it within your very being, that there's more to you than what you may be currently living, that you're here to make a difference in, whether it's in the whole world, or whether it's in your family, whether it's in just your experience for yourself. You may have had a really challenging childhood, traumatic childhood, and that is something that you feel within you, that's not who you truly are, that there's more to you that you want to experience. And so to be in that place, to be a woman of light in today's world, where everything is doing its best to hold us back, to keep us small, to stop us shining, to stay in the darkness, all of those things are programs that are containing us and stopping us from really experiencing who we are. And so here at Women of Light Movement, we're here to support you to wake up to your purpose, to your divine wisdom, to your genius level, so that you can shine your light. Because as one person shines their light, it gives everybody else around them the opportunity and the permission and the invitation to be able to shine their light too, to have freedom to express who they are, to be creative, to live in sovereignty, and be able to access those deeper parts of themselves that may have not had the opportunity to fully express themselves, right? And to do that, in my personal opinion, when you're just first starting out and you're just learning how to shine your light, and we've got layers and layers and layers and layers of baggage from our family history, from generations prior. So you when you consider how long humans have been on the planet, how long women have been suppressed for, how long the world has been in chaos for, right? There is a lot of stuff that's in our genetic makeup that is holding us in that individual small survival mode and living in power and powerless operation. When we can step out of that, I would say that if you're just starting out, that it's important not to watch TV, not to know what's actually going on out there in the world, because your vibration is still in that place of not being able to decipher the difference between true reality and what this false reality is that is holding us back from being our true light. When you start reaching to those higher levels and you've cleared a lot of that stuff, you can watch TV and see it for what it is and not be affected, have those triggers happen and those charges within our in our bodily functions, like the brainwave or the neural pathways triggering us into survival mode again and going into worry and doubt, right? But that takes a fair bit. It takes a lot of persistence, a lot of personal development and personal and spiritual development to raise your vibration to a point where you can actually see what's actually physically happening here on the planet and disengage from it. As I have a very strong affinity with Jesus Christ, and Jesus said, in this world but not of it, right? So when you can be in this world but see that this world is actually quite an illusion and is trying to hold you back from who you are, how powerful you are, when you can truly see that, then you can watch TV and smile and laugh at it and not be engaged with it. But when you are still just finding yourself and you're just in that place of, there's still frequencies within you of old traumas from your childhood or old memories from, past lives or genetic information that's still in your DNA from lineage, soul lineage and family narratives, etc. You don't have the actual true codes to hold you in the right vibration, and so you can get locked into the matrix, into this old. Is very scary, and that's where a lot of women are, a lot of men, a lot of people at the moment are in this this place where they're really just hooked into what's going on and fearful, and that is lowering the vibration of the planet, is also causing us all to be stuck in this. We actually have the power to change this. We have the power to move mountains, right? The more and more I have been working in, I've been an energy healer and mentor for, next year it'll be 25 years, right? And I have watched the spiritual and personal development industry, I suppose, is a way to put it. I've watched it evolve from, having to clear all our stuff and look at our pain and our darkness and our shadow into a more advanced or more appropriate understanding of this, the secrets of alchemy, and bringing back the Hermetic principles from, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, of what it truly means to create. And I know that there is a lot of old spiritual and personal development stuff still out there that people are landing on, where you've got to go in and check, look at all your junk and look at bring up all those wounds and traumas, and when you're in that place, you're just re-engaging all of that within your brainwave frequencies, right? You're just going back into that survival mode. And you know, yes, it does heal eventually, but it takes a very long time. There is new information on the planet now that's so much faster, so much quicker, and I've been blessed to be able to be part of that process. To, you know, I would say, just because I have set the intention, I know that I'm here to help raise the vibration of the planet and wake people up, right? To that we are way more than what we think we are here on this little world we call Earth, and that you know, as we develop that, we can actually make huge leaps and changes. And so where I was going with that is that I have noticed, the more I have been working with this particular work, with what I call recoding, the more I've been working with that, as we release the old patterns from the subconscious, what it does is it actually just allows us to step into the quantum field, or the soup, you know, this big energy field that we are all part of. And as Esther Hicks, or Abraham Hicks, says, allows us to then flow in the river of life, like downstream instead of going upstream, because it's really the subconscious patterns that are, you know, locked into, that don't want to change, right? They're our they're our, you know, like backup plan sort of thing. But the backup plan that runs 95% of the time in our world, when we can let go of those, and those, you know, like tendrils that are out there holding on to this old information, when we can let go of that, it actually just releases us so that we can go downstream, so that we can start moving in the direction of these miracles that actually aren't miracles. They're just, when you're in that field, things happen. Like, you start actually having synchronicities happen, and people coming into your life when you're really focused on what it is that you truly choose to create, instead of in this problem solving that everyone wants to lock you into. When you live in creation, there's a huge difference in your life. And I actually had one of my mentors send a quote today that said, if you haven't noticed, we're in the battle of realities at the moment. And I feel the winners are those that don't know. And the winners will be those that don't know, right? Because I want to ask you a question. Where did burying your head in the sand come from in the first place? It's a good question, right? Because I've had times in my life where I've thought, oh, am I ignoring what's going on in the world and oblivious, and so therefore it's not a good thing for me? And I remember that I was living up in far north Queensland when I first started contemplating that, because the only time I've ever been bummed out that I missed the TV was when Michael Jackson died, and no one had told me for a couple of weeks, and I missed out on all the tributes and everything. I would have loved to have seen them, but other than that, I lived in far north Queensland where, you know, every year we had cyclones and there was various things, and I still knew exactly what was going on, because I was able to, you know, hear from other people that that's what was happening, that there was a cyclone coming, you know, the forecast. There are people that watch the weather, and I actually had a thought, like, you know, am I am I, putting my head in the sand and ignoring things? And it's a really interesting question, right? Something to contemplate and to reflect on. Because if you can find out exactly what's going on, the bits that are important to you, the parts that you need to know, right? You can find them in all of that crap that's out there that's trying to hold you in fear. When you can hold your vibration in your desired result and not waver from it, massive shifts happen. And it's not just for one person or one type of person, it's actually for every single person. I'd love for you to put a yes in the chat if you've experienced yourself holding onto something that you really, really want and seeing it out through all the way for it to burst and bloom into your reality. Throw a yes in the chat if you have experienced yourself creating something, right? And it could be something small, doesn't have to be something big. All of us have created something because all of us have had the experience of, oh, I'm hungry, I feel like something like, a big salad or whatever, and then found yourself creating this beautiful salad and then being able to sit down and eat it. So all of us have had the opportunity of creating something in our world. It's when we go into, oh, I'm hungry, and oh, there's nothing in the fridge. Oh, but I've got no money, and I really should be paying for all those people. I should be putting some money towards all those people that are starving over in Africa, and blah 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 blah. All the stuff that we can go into cause our vibration to lower, and really all we wanted was to be fed, right? We wanted to create something so that we could get food in our belly. And so it's really interesting to find ourselves in a place where we are being dragged down and in a pattern of feeling like we aren't good enough, or we're insignificant, or we're incapable of being able to change our world and change our reality. So I would like you to reflect on the fact that you have the opportunity to change your world. You do not have to live in fear and concern and worry and doubt. You have the opportunity, and whatever you're choosing is, you're either choosing it in your unconscious patterns, or you're choosing it from your conscious, which is being dictated most of the time from your unconscious anyway, or you're doing through intuition and holding the space of the higher part of yourself, your divine wisdom and your divine nature, right? And we need way more people these days to actually step into that, because it's really important that we all hold space for that. I have a webinar coming up on the 28th of July called Limitless Wealth, and it's not just about finances, it's about relationships, it's about health, wealth in all areas of your life. And if you're interested in finding out more and joining us, it's on, I think it's an hour and a half, 90 minutes or something like that, 7:30 at night in Sydney and Brisbane at the moment, I think Melbourne as well. if that is something that you would like to find out more about how to create and how to hold that, you know, because sometimes we can create and then get caught up in our old patterns and not be able to sustain it, right? So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in because you've realized that the world that you're living in is not the world that you actually want to be living in, then put a yes please in the or webinar in the comments, and we will send you the link so that you can join us. It's a free webinar, and I'm going to be sharing a lot of the secrets of how to create and you know, getting out of those old patterns, right, and living in being a woman of light and stepping into your sovereignty. So take care, enjoy your week, and I will see you soon.